Do you think, let's play out the logical conclusion of this. Do you think that myself, Bongino, and others would participate in hiding information about Epstein's grotesque activities? Or do you think we would also participate in not prosecuting people we had evidence to prosecute people on?
Well, Kash Patel was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and you can imagine that the reactions did not wait. It's that when talking about Jeffrey Epstein, when talking about all the things that surround this case and others, well, there are questions that are still left unanswered. And according to Kash Patel, Epstein, yet again, did of himself. We're going to watch a couple clips in here addressing this, which again is still a mystery in many ways. I should address the whole Epstein case in one of my videos, but for now, let's stay with the body language of Kash Patel with Joe Rogan. By the way, at some point they were mentioning Michael Baden, that he performed an autopsy, and well, it didn't. Let's say that it sparked a bit of controversy about the real way that Epstein died.
Dr. Michael Baden, what he said was it was indicative of a ligature strangulation, and there's a specific break of the bones and the vertebrae that's consistent with someone who is just strangled to death.
So the Rogan is mentioning this. He's addressing, okay, you're saying that Epstein of himself, but there are this recollections of these experts who have another idea of what happened, about some bones in Epstein's neck that are not consistent with hanging yourself, but with strangulation. To what Patel answers this.
I haven't seen it. I'll definitely take a look at it because that's part of my job.
Now, in this moment he was answering. I don't know if he was answering to the HBO documentary that Rogan was mentioning, the HBO documentary about these findings, or the report itself. But that's when Rogan clarifies.
Because that's part of my job.
You haven't seen that?
The report on that? No, I haven't looked.
The report. He said the report itself. So you're saying that Kash Patel hasn't seen the report of Jeffrey Epstein's autopsy. I could give him a pass starting this analysis that he has been quite busy since he let's say he's in his this rather new job. But again, it's like how long? How many times is he going to be asked these questions? Because that's what people want to know. I think this is a matter of having a bit of common sense, right? You know that people are going to ask the question about Epstein, and you might as well, make sure that you try to be clear about that and try to, give people what they are, what they want. And that is a very important question, and you might as well at least look at the report of Jeffrey Epstein's autopsy. I'm pretty sure that it's going to be long, as everything in any investigation. Again, the guy's going to be very busy. But if you're doing these interviews, if you have time to do these interviews, you have time to answer the questions that people have. And if you have the opportunity to answer those questions, it would be logical to, well, at least have some intern brief you in the details of the most likely questions, that the answers to the most likely questions that you're going to be asked.
You see any, was there any other autopsy done other than the official one?
Not to my knowledge, but if there was, you'll get it. And that's what we're doing.
See if you can find that.
I noticed that he is always saying, you will get it. This is something that he has said in other interviews. He's really reassuring. Even if he's shaking his head, I've told you many times that could be a gesture of emphasizing, absolutely, you will get it.
Not to my knowledge, but if there was, you'll get it. And that's what we're doing.
He doesn't break a sweat. He usually looks straight to the eyes. He establishes eye contact. He's lowering his gaze in here. I'm going to I'm still giving him a pass, but I'm going to give you my conclusions at the end.
Thing.
Yeah. So this is a perfect example of going back to my public defender and prosecutor days.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we call a war of experts. You can always find someone to come in and say the opposite.
This is a bit misleading. It would say it is a bit irresponsible, in my opinion, if you haven't read the actual report saying that somebody else comes to, let's say, rebate or debate that original report, that autopsy, and according to this, it's only one autopsy being done on Epstein, and that's what the Rogan asks him. Has there been more than one autopsy? No, it's only one. There's an opinion from this specialist in these cases, this expert in these cases. But Patel hasn't seen the report and says, oh, this must be that this is a war between experts. All right, you might at least consider taking a look at that. That would be the right thing to do. But then we continue.
Right. And I used to do it all the time. I mean, I represented some of the worst humans that you can possibly imagine on earth, literally. The guys that were trafficking children from Mexico into America.
So he's talking about this branch of the conversation that has nothing to do with what they were talking about, saying that, oh yeah, this is something that happens all the time from my experience, and then proceeds to talk about his experience, not about the topic that they were talking about. That is kind of sidestepping the question. It's a kind of a sidestep. Let's see if he goes back to the original question.
And you could put up a professional expert to say, and this is what's going to go on forever. And my job is not the forever. My job is to get you absolutely everything.
Again, he says absolutely everything. There was a little pacifying gesture in there. I'm going to give you absolutely everything. He says that over and over again, but where's the everything? We are expecting for that. We are waiting for that everything. Kash Patel reveals he recently found new camera footage showing no one enter Epstein's cell after the media and Attorney General Bill Barr said that the cell cameras malfunctioned and there was no video. Where did they find that video?
When did you become aware of this video that showed that no one had gone in and out of the cell?
Recently.
So why was...
I found that gesture really off for Patel. Bringing his hands to his head, looking down and to his left. This is not something that he has done. I haven't seen him doing this in the past. That's all. That is an odd emotional reaction. When did you find out about this video? Recently. You don't need to think much about that. That is part of your job. Oh, we recently know it's
recently.
So why was it recent though? I mean, if this death was, how long ago was this death? 2 years?
No, this death was like 6 years ago.
2019?
2019.
Oh, really? Why time flies. So 6 years.
Well, again, that's part of what I'm going to try to answer for you.
That's part of what I'm going to try to answer for you. I don't know. That again, it's like you're trying to answer, or you're going to give the answers. You're going to give the video. You're going to show the video. What are you waiting for? The more you wait to show the video, the less people are going to trust what you're showing them. It's that simple. It's like the Epstein files. The longer you take to show them, the less people are going to trust what's in there.
I'm not saying every single camera in the place was working. I'm saying we've got footage and you're getting it. Mm-hmm. And then you can make up your own mind. And,
right.
and I mean, if the investigation is already closed, and it should be closed because Patel hasn't even bothered to read the autopsy report, then what is the problem in just showing the security camera footage? That if you have security camera footage, it will show nobody going in the cell block. Why would you be worried to just show camera footage of nothing? Why won't you show that already? And Bongina said in another interview that they were preparing the video for release? What do you need to prepare? It's an empty video. It's just a hole, right? But you can see throughout the whole footage that there's no one going in and out, correct? And why don't release it?
The theories can continue, but my job
So
is to give
you
the
became
information.
aware of this footage recently,
The ones that we're looking at, yeah.
right?
It's good that Joe Rogan asks the questions over and over again, at least twice. This is important. Always in any interrogation or interview, it's important that you ask questions twice. Rogan knows that these are the questions that people want the answers to.
And so, but this is like an article from quite a while ago that was saying that the footage was mistakenly erased.
Look, I mean, it goes back to the same, ask the people that were in power then.
Yeah, ask the people who were in power then, ask Bill Barr, ask the previous administration.
I mean, I get it that you want to hold me to account for their actions.
No, we cannot hold you accountable for their actions. You are right in that sense, Kash. But the people still want answers and quickly.
Well, I can tell you after having looked at it, this ain't going to be AI.
You don't think so?
You're going to...
Oh, yeah, they were talking about it, with everything that can be done nowadays. People are going to say, how do we know that it's going to be AI? Well, it's going to be really boring. An empty, I don't know, a hallway or cell block with nothing. You don't need AI for that. You just give people... how do we know that it's... If they release the video, how do we know that it's the actual video from that night? How do we know that?
I can tell you after having looked at it, this ain't going to be AI.
You don't think so?
You're going to... It's just not great. You know, it's like if it were AI, like someone wanted to come in and make it, they'd make it.
Yeah, if it's not great, why not release it?
Was murdered in segregated housing in isolation after being on suicide watch in a place in a detention center that I physically...
Well, this is something that most people don't know, and I certainly, if I knew it, I did not remember that Epstein was actually in suicide watch because he had actually attempted suicide, I think like 2 weeks prior to his death. And that is interesting to know, but still doesn't... doesn't clear up the things, and it doesn't help that Kash doesn't. He keeps promising that he's going to release this and he's going to be transparent with the people, but what has been so far? Binder
been in myself, it would be fiction. It's just in my experience, that is not doable.
Okay, Kash Patel has just said that somebody entering Epstein's cell block is fiction. Is simply not possible. He's saying that in literally.
Isolation after being on suicide watch in a place in a detention center that I've physically been in myself, it would be fiction. It's just in my experience, that is not doable.
Not doable. They said that. All right. So why not release the videos?
It's not doable even for the most powerful and wealthiest people in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great that Rogan asks those questions again. We're talking about people who are, the most powerful, the wealthiest, the most deranged, the everything. Don't you think that they could have the ability to have a special operations team to do something, and let's say in a building that was not designed to be a maximum security prison? Because that's the other thing. That is not a maximum security prison.
But I mean, so many people have been implicated, right, already. And some of that information, what they did to Prince Andrew and everybody else is already out there. And so...
Why did he have to mention Prince Andrew? I don't know.
So, and also, by the way, most Americans haven't, nor should they. Have you ever spent 1 minute in segregated housing?
No.
It's the worst. The absolute worst. Like, you and your background, you could probably handle it, right? Like, just in all reality.
I've seen this well. In fact, it was a bit of luxury cell blocks back in the day when Epstein was there, and it was not as fun, but it was still you have your TV, you had your private shower. I don't know if that was the I saw Epstein's cell block, the pictures. I think that they got rid of all that, and it was just a bed with a toilet.
Most Americans, you put them in there for 5 seconds, they're going to slam their head against the wall. Literally. They're going to lose their mind.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
It's that bad.
I'm sure. I could only imagine. And I could only imagine this guy knowing that it's over. And what do you want to do?
And, being over, what do you want to do? And also, he doubles down again.
Do you think, let's play out the logical conclusion of this. Do you think that myself, Bongino, and others would participate in hiding information about Epstein's grotesque activities?
That question is a bit misleading, because we are never implying that. We just have questions, and the way that you, Kash Patel, and Dan Bongino have dismissed such questions as quackery, it's a bit insulting. It's a bit insulting, because I think the people deserve to know. I want to know. Everybody wants to know what really happened.
But the problem is there's been like 15 years of people coming in and creating fictions about this that doesn't exist.
15 years? What are you talking about?
Where's the videotape of an Epstein Island of X, Y, and Z committing these frauds? Why haven't you given it to us? Do you really think I wouldn't give that to you if it existed?
Those words, that's why I marked them in yellow. You have noticed that my captions now are in white. I'm going to keep them white so there's not that much noise. And when there's something important, I'm going to highlight it in yellow. Notice what he said. These words are important.
Committing these frauds.
The videos about Epstein Island.
Where's the videotape of an Epstein Island of X, Y, and Z committing these frauds? Why haven't you given it to us? Do you really think I wouldn't give that to you if it existed?
If it existed. So he's implying or suggesting that the videos of Epstein Island and the other Epstein properties do not exist. All right.
I'm working my ass off, along with the leadership at the Bureau and DOJ, to get you what we're allowed to give you.
To get you what we are allowed to give you. Because you know that so many people that are implicated in this, people, nations, intelligence agencies from all over the world. This is a huge clusterfuck. This is simply that. Okay, and they're not going to leave it. They're gonna not allow to make it an international, let's say, problem, an international problem, controversy, collapse. Because if it gets released, it's gonna be an international problem, a huge problem for all those elites.
And you're gonna get the video of the cell, and you're gonna see for yourself. And we will never be able to convince everyone.
The problem is that right after that, he does this with his mouth. He presses his lips. We will not be able to convince everyone. And then presses his lips. He's right about that. He will never be able to convince everyone. That's something that always people, it's like when I talk about the moon landings and I try to explain how they actually happened, and people tell me, oh no, such and such. And I lead people to the actual proof that they happened. No, they want to think otherwise. And in some ways, I have to give Kash some kind of I understand how he feels. No matter if you give all the proof in the world, there are always going to be people that do not believe the the things that you are showing them. Sorry, I'm talking about conspiracies now.
Let's get into that. So, what did you think before you got in office? Did you think that Epstein was murdered?
No.
No suspicion at all of it?
But I have a different background, right?
Right.
So I was a public defender back in the day.
The captions are totally off. The captions are all over the place. now they're fine. Let's continue. Sorry about that.
Did you think that Epstein was murdered?
No.
No suspicion at all of it?
But I have a different background, right?
Right.
So I was a public defender back in the day.
So he is, or always has been, completely sure that Epstein did not off
I used
himself.
to spend a lot of time in jails and a lot of time in segregated housing units, shoes as we call them, right? And so, and I've known people that have committed suicide in these cells.
So he's got the experience to understand how this works. And apparently Epstein did try to commit suicide 2 weeks prior.
And I know how you get in, how you get out, who works the system. And so the way, based on public information at the time, that he ended up, the pictures and him hanging himself, I was like, man, that guy killed himself.
Okay, it's a face value. Do we trust you? And why are you hunching like that? This is my question.
There's just no way that you could have run an op and had people go into that cell and not have any video of it.
This is the thing. How many ways that you can tamper with cameras? Cameras that did not function. Cameras that can be, which the recording can be tampered with. Again, as Joe Rogan asked the question, we're talking about the most powerful people on the planet that could be implicated with this. Don't you think that you're gonna think about these details? I mean, anybody will think that of those details, and if you had the resources, I think everything is possible.
And not have any people come out and say, hey, yeah, I saw that guy, he shouldn't have been there, the guard or this guy. There's just no access points into places like this in the detention center he was in, which I've been in.
Well, this is something that is mostly true, because I analyzed the floor plans of the whole thing, just accessing through the usual way of accessing the cell block is very difficult if to not be seen by other people. And then you could ask the question, why, if there were if these 2 security guards were sleeping or dozing off, and there were other security guards in the thing? I don't know. This is, of course, all. I'm just making up things. These are only theories from my mind, off the top of my mind.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but what I was told, what I'd read, was that the guards were not paying attention or were sleeping.
Well,
right?
And in short order, you'll see it.
In short order, you'll see it. So we're going to see the video of the guards sleeping, because if we can see video of the guards sleeping, we should at least have a glimpse, because the desk of the guards was barely 15 feet from Epstein's cell block. So if we can see in the video the guards dozing off or sleeping, we absolutely can see the area or the not the door, the hallway that leads to Epstein's cell block. Those were very, very small quarters.
Is that correct?
Well, it's hard to surmise that from a video, right? Like,
right.
Where they and look, do guards doze off on the night shift? Yeah. But no one can get in to the cell. And if they had gotten in to the cell, you would see it.
All right, so there is video. There is actual video. Why not show the actual video?
But we were told that the cameras were down.
Yeah. He asked the question again. Very good.
Well, I don't know who said that.
But that was in the news.
We're giving you all the footage we have.
Again, we are going to have everything. When? We don't know.
So why wasn't that released immediately? Why did this speculation escalate?
I think you'd have to ask whoever the Attorney General back then was, Bill Barr.
Well, I'm going to tell you this, that this is really, really suspicious. I don't know why they keep doing these interviews. Why are they doing some kind of book tour? They're gonna sell a book like Karine Jean-Pierre or Jake Tapper? I don't know. Why do you offer these interviews to give non-answers? Better not give those interviews. And I already made an analysis that I'm going to post right here so you can see other instances in which Kash Patel's body language is, suspicious to say the least. But I would like to know what you think about this in the comments. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy. Much love and bliss.